The air smelled like sea salt and champagne. The sun was setting over Monterey Bay, painting the sky in golden bruise. Emily lay awake, her mind looping that sentence again and again, what was always meant to be together. It sounded like poetry, but it felt like a warning. The next morning she went down to the kitchen for coffee. Richard was already there, sitting by the window, staring at nothing. When he saw her, he stood abruptly, as if caught doing something he shouldn't. "You look just like someone I used to know," he said softly. Emily faltered. Gone where? Richard's expression shifted. Not grief, not nostalgia, but something else. Regret, maybe fear. She left, that's all. He left. His gaze lingered on her face, tracing the curve of her cheek, the slope of her nose, the faint scar she'd tried to cover with makeup. The silence stretched until it became unbearable. "You have her eyes," he said finally, his voice happened. But the moment I saw you with him—" He stopped, his voice breaking. It felt like punishment, like fate was making me watch my past come back to life. Emily felt dizzy. "You let me fall in love with him." He closed his eyes. "I didn't know how to stop it without confessing. And confessing would have destroyed everything." Her voice cracked. "Everything? You mean me?" He didn't answer. The sound of the ocean filled the silence. Hanging in the air, a guillotine over our happiness. The crowd gasps. All eyes are on him, then on me, then on my mother. The secret, a ghost kept in the shadows for decades, finally steps into the light. The truth is a bomb, and it detonates right there at the altar. Suddenly, I'm not Emily Carter, the bride. I'm a question mark. My past, my identity, it all shatters like glass. The ring trembles in Daniel's hand, our future collapsing in the deafening silence. Now, standing on the cliff's edge as darkness swallows the sea, I'm left with one question. Is love strong enough to survive a lie? Can we rebuild a future on the ruins of the past? Thank you so much for watching our story unfold. If you were moved, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. The story didn't end at the altar. It only fractured there. What came after was quieter, but heavier, like the silence that follows an explosion. 3 days later, the wedding venue still smelled of wilted roses and spilled champagne. The Hale mansion had become a fortress of shame, windows drawn, reporters stationed outside, headlines blaring across every channel. Wealth, lies and blood, the wedding that unraveled a dynasty. Emily hadn't left her apartment since that day. She sat by the window in her ruined wedding dress, unable to throw it away. Every time she tried, she'd end up pulling it back out of the trash bag, clutching the fabric like a memory she couldn't kill. The city kept moving outside, cars, people, laughter, but inside time had stopped. She hadn't heard from Daniel, not a single message, not even anger. He disappeared, leaving behind a silence that hurt more than words ever could. Her mother called, every day begging to see her. Emily ignored the calls. What could Helen possibly say now? Every answer would only reopen the wound. Until one night the doorbell rang. She hesitated, expecting it to be a reporter, another stranger hungry for tragedy. But when she opened the door, Daniel was standing there. He looked nothing like the man she remembered. His eyes were red, his face unshaven, his suit wrinkled. He held something in his hand, her engagement ring. "Can I come in?" he asked softly. Emily nodded, stepping aside. The room was dim, lit only by the orange glow of streetlights through the blinds. They didn't speak at first, just silence, shared exhaustion. Finally, Daniel said, "I don't know what to call you anymore." Was Richard's. Emily's pulse raced. "Room 314, she whispered, as if saying it aloud would make it less terrifying. The next morning she drove to Carmel. The hospital had been closed for over a decade, its windows shattered, vines crawling through cracks in the brick. The smell of damp wood and rust filled the air. She stepped through the broken doorway, flashlight in hand, boots echoing through empty halls. Into a world that no longer fit any definition of family she'd ever known. But as she reached her car, something inside her shifted. She wasn't running from the truth anymore. She was walking straight into it. The storm outside my window is nothing compared to the one I'm about to unleash. For 27 years, I've lived a life that wasn't entirely my own, haunted by a secret that belonged to one of the most powerful families in the city, the Hales. Tonight, that ends. My name is Emily Carter, and this is my truth. 27 years ago, a choice was made, a lie was born, and I was at the center of it. I'm not just the girl from the other side of town. I am the daughter Richard Hale never acknowledged, the sister Daniel Hale never knew he had. While they built an empire on a foundation of lies, my mother, Helen, carried the weight of their secret. Her silence bought and paid for. This isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming a life that was stolen from me before I could even live it. I hit upload, and the world shifted. The video exploded. News vans swarmed the Hale mansion like vultures, the fortress of their perfect family crumbling live for the world to see. Inside, I can only imagine the chaos. Diane Hale, the matriarch, her careful She signed her name as Emily Carter, the name she was born with, the name before everything fractured. But peace, she learned, isn't silence. It's living with the noise and not letting it drown you. Then one grey afternoon, the past found her again. A package arrived at the bookstore. No sender, no note. Just her name in that same uneven handwriting. She froze when she saw it. The paper smelled faintly of cedar, Richard's cologne. Her hands trembled as she unwrapped it. But there, she whispered, "I forgive you." Not as absolution, but as release. Because forgiveness wasn't for the dead. It was for the living. As the tide rose, Emily placed the journal inside a glass box and buried it beneath the sand, just above the shoreline. "You don't belong to me anymore," she murmured. "You belong to the sea." She turned and walked back up the beach, her footprints fading behind her, not erased but softened by time, and for the first time in years, she smiled. Not because she'd forgotten, but because she'd finally learned how to remember without breaking. The camera would fade here if this were a movie. A wide shot of the ocean swallowing the horizon, the wind whispering secrets that no longer hurt to hear. But this wasn't a movie. It was what came after. What? A story that began with lies and ended with something rarer, truth, carried gently in the hands of someone who survived it. And somewhere far away, in a mansion long abandoned, a single light flickered on in an upstairs window. Someone was still there. Someone who knew more than Emily ever would. The story, after all, was never really over.